Well, g'day. Welcome to the House podcast. Actually pressed record this time. After last episode's fiasco, we're not going to go through that again. No, we're not. Couple of good stories to get to today. Obviously, the main one being the Origin sides have been announced for next week's Game 2 over in Perth. But we've got a couple other headlines that we'll talk about a little bit. We'll get into some stories. We'll get into some of the games from last week, the headlines from the games last round. We'll start it off with everyone's new excitement over the NRL, the Perth Bears. They have found their coach, former Queensland coach, former Australian head coach. Mal Meninga will coach the Perth Bears in 2027. That was announced last week. I love it. I think it is a great signing for Perth. Like, with the head coaches that are out of the market right now, Brad Arthur, Kevin Walters, whoever else, they're good, but I think Mal is probably the best candidate, and he got the job. So we're gonna discuss some of Mal's coaching career from the past. He didn't have much success. As his first head coaching gig for the Canberra Raiders, obviously one of Canberra's best, if not Canberra's best player of all time. He had then decided to coach them for a few years, but wasn't the best head coach. First go around, it's tough to be a head coach. No matter how experienced you are at it, you see now Ivan Cleary. How good of a coach is he? This year, not just him, but the whole club is struggling. So no matter how good of a coach you are, it's hard to be a head coach sometimes. And when it's your first job out at Canberra, it didn't go so well. Then he took some time off and then got the Queensland job. And we all know how bloody well that went. Let's look at some of the stats. During Queensland, definitely their most dominant run in State of Origin history during his tenure, they won 9 series in 10 years. As a Blues fan, we went through it, all right? Obviously, I was pretty young for some of them, but towards the end of that dominance, it really hurt. It really hurt as I started to get older, as I started to get more passionate and actually started to realize what it meant and how dominant they actually were. 9 series in 10 years. He won 20 out of 30 games as a head coach. That's bloody incredible. I mean, whether you're a Queensland fan or a New South Wales fan, you got to give credit where it's due, and you have to understand. You have to give the man his flowers. How dominant as a coach those numbers are. 20 games out of 30, 9 series in 10 years, becoming State of Origin's greatest coach and Queensland's greatest coach in the most dominant part of its history. Then he gets the opportunity to coach the Kangaroos. And it's a rightful next step. The vacancy comes up after Tim Sheens steps down. And Mel takes it. And he takes it with both hands. And I think they're pretty big hands too. He's a big boy. 2 World Cup victories. Listen to this, winning 25 of 28 games as Australia's coach. Now, you could obviously push back and say, well, Australia is the most dominant team in rugby league, international rugby league. Any coach could have had that success. Maybe, but not to this degree. You've seen New Zealand win World Cups. You've seen Samoa make World Cup finals, really push to be the best. Tonga is making a good push this last few years. Not every coach will have that success. Every coach would probably have success with a greater than 50% win rate, but not like this. Not like this. He's 2 World Cups, 25 of 28 games won. It's great. That's pretty fucking good. So there's no doubt in my mind he absolutely was the best candidate for the Perth Bears. But with all that being said, building an NRL club from the ground up, that's a different challenge altogether. It comes with its own unique challenges. It will take time. It will take time. It's not you step into the Australian gig, you've got the best of the best in Australia to choose from. If you're versing someone like Lebanon, Cook Islands, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, you automatically have an advantage. So a win, as good as a win is in that format, you're heavy favourites. Australia is 95% of the time a heavy favourite in international rugby league. So coming in to an NRL franchise, a brand new one, well, kind of brand new, in a state where they don't have a big rugby league foundation, this will take time. I think it's an excellent hire. He should get at least a 3-year deal. I don't know what the deal actually is, but 3 years minimum. Like I said, it's going to take time. A 3-year deal would warrant, at least 3 years would warrant the time it will take to build an NRL franchise over in Perth. I'm excited to see what he can do. We've got the head coach. Now who are we going to sign? Who's going to be the first player signing? Like I said, when I went through my signings as the Perth Bears GM, figuratively, I would have signed Kalen Ponga first and foremost. Kalen Ponga. Then it was like Scott Drinkwater or Britton Nickera or Jordan Ricky. We're making steps. The Perth Bears are making steps because they don't have a long runway to actually figure all this stuff out. So they've got the coach. Who's going to be the first player signing? Probably won't see that till the end of this year. But things are moving for the Perth Bears. Things are moving. So then the question comes, who will be the next Australian coach? Who will coach the Kangaroos moving forward? As we know, we've got the Ashes series this year. So we're going to get some sort of news, you know, in the next couple of months, you would imagine. Reports have been thrown out there, some names. Brad Fittler, Kevin Walters, Wayne Bennett. He's probably considered the front runner, you would imagine, with his experience. A name that got thrown out there that I did not expect, but I love to see, Cameron Smith, thrown into the mix of coaching the Kangaroos. Now, obviously, Wayne would be an excellent choice. Obviously, there'd be some sort of negotiations having to happen with the Rabbitohs. Can't coach both. But Cameron Smith's name, that's intriguing. That's intriguing now because you've seen what Billy Slater has done with Queensland. Obviously, they lost last year. They're not in great form to win this year. But I think Billy's an excellent coach. I think he's a great coach. And, you know, he demands the best of his players. He's a very smart coach. And, you know, Cameron Smith comes from that same high-level experience. Played under the same coach in Bellamy. Played in the same system, the Melbourne Storm. Had a similar junior rugby league come up. Played in the same rep teams under Mao for Queensland. Under Mao for the back end of their careers for Australia. Under Tim Sheens for Australia. So they've got a very similar NRL timeline under the same big coaches with similar experience. I really like what Billy's done as a coach. I think Cameron Smith's been in that coaching system for Queensland as Billy's been the head coach. So I think if Cameron were to do it, obviously it's a massive job for a first-time head coach. But I think if Cameron were to do it, I think we'd get similar things to what we've seen with Billy. So I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I would actually encourage it if Wayne was to step down. I don't think Kevin Walters, like I said, any coach that steps in there as the Australian head coach is going to have success. We have the best of the best in the world. You're going to win more than 50% of your games. It's almost a guarantee. But to get the best of the best, to win multiple World Cups, to win Ashes series, to win Pacific Nation tests, to beat the likes of New Zealand, Samoa, and Tonga in the likes of today, you need to be a really good coach, especially in the future if you're going to start to see these multi-ethnicity players start to go and play for Samoa or England or New Zealand. They're going to start to potentially leave the green and gold. You're going to need a really good coach when you don't have the best of the best to select from. So I don't think Kevin Walters is a great pick. Brad Fittler could do some good work there, but if Wayne wasn't to get the job, I would love to see Cameron Smith get the job. Like I said, I relate him and what he could do as a head coach to the likes of Billy Slater and what he's doing in Queensland. I really think that Billy Slater will probably follow in a similar footstep, in a similar path to Mal. I think Billy Slater will eventually be the Australian head coach. He's got to do his time as Queensland head coach, have some really good success there, and obviously then wait for the next opportunity to come up for Australia. But right now, if Cameron Smith were to be named as the next Australian head coach, I would seriously encourage people to be very, very open-minded. It's about how much success and the culture that he would bring to the Australian side. Everyone respects Cameron Smith. Everyone thinks he is one of the best to ever play rugby league. I just think he will bring excellence. Well, not bring, because there already is a culture of excellence in the Kangaroos side. But I just think he will maintain and probably take the Australian side to the next level, especially as we're going to start to see these younger guys have to be blooded. Now, because the likes of Tedesco, Cherry Evans, Munster, they've played with Cameron Smith. He hasn't been retired for that long. So as you start to see these new young kids come into the Australian squad, there's less of a equal, less of a player-to-player dynamic if Cameron Smith would be to be the coach, because especially with the likes of Munster, they play together. It's hard to see, it's easy for those players to see Mal as head coach Mal Meninga, immortal. You know, how good of a player he was back in the day. But when you have, and it might be similar in Queensland right now, because you've got the exact same dynamic, player to player. Almost. I mean, Billy's up here. He's retired. He's done great things. He's done excellent things in the game. But there's almost that dynamic. But then you start to lose those experienced players, the DCEs, the Munsters, the Tedescos, and Cameron Smith, if he were to be the Australian coach. All of a sudden, you've got retired NRL player, head coach up here. You've got the likes of Lindsay Smiths. He's been coming in. The Lomaxes, where they might not have played against him, they might not have played with him. All they see him as was watching him on TV as a great NRL player, and now he's my head coach. So that dynamic shifts heavily as you start to see these old players leave the system and these younger coaches come up as head coaches. So if Cameron Smith were to be the Australian coach, I would absolutely love it. I think he could do great things in that role. And I also think Mal Meninga will do great things as Perth Bears head coach. He demands the best of his players, and if he signs really, really good players, he will get the best out of them. Obviously, it takes time. It's a brand new franchise. We've seen with the Dolphins. It takes time. But I think he's the man for the job. All right, let's get into these origin squads. We'll start with New South Wales because we're New South Wales. And there's only one change. Atui Kamanu comes in for the injured Mitch Barnett. Pretty straightforward. Other than that, the only thing that changed was the extended bench. Got Lindsay Smith, Matt Burton, and Kaloa Matangi. In the extended bench, no Ola Kawatu, no Campbell Graham, but never really a chance of playing anyway, so it's probably more for experience. Other than that, yeah, only the one change and pick and stick. That's pretty much what you want to see. Queensland, couple of changes. Kurt Capewell comes back in. Ezra Mann is on the extended bench. And the big one, DCE is gone. Tom Dearden will likely start probably definitely start at halfback. I mentioned it after their loss in a previous episode. You lose DCE, you lose your captain, you lose a whole lot of experience, and you lose a person who's overcome turmoil in game should things not go their way to start the match off. Munster has been named as captain. I like it. You had him. You probably had Harry Grant. Probably your only solid options, maybe a Carrigan. But I don't mind Munster at captain. We'll see how this extra pressure, having the C next to your name can sometimes make you play even greater, can sometimes put so much pressure on you, you just don't play like yourself. We'll see how he goes with it. I think he'll do the former, play even better with it next to his name. I would have kept DCE in, but something that you heard from Cooper Cronk after game one was Cooper Cronk suggested Billy should sit down with DCE, have a coffee, whatever, and just talk to him. Ask him the question, do you want to represent your country again? Do you believe that you can turn things around in game two and get the win and get us back on track to win this series? And Cooper said Billy should have that conversation with him, and then when he walks away, trust your gut instinct of whether DCE is in or whether he's not fully committed. I don't know if that happened. That was just what Cooper Cronk suggested Billy should do. But Billy has made the big call, and he's been known to make some pretty big calls in his short time in Queensland, but he's made the big call. He feels that Tom Dearden gives them the best chance to win game two as halfback. It's a big call. We'll see if it pays off. I like Tom Dearden. Is he ready to be a starting halfback for the Queensland side? We'll see. If you're not going to have DCE in there, he's your next best option. So it's not a massive call because DCE is towards the end of his career, especially international career. This could potentially be the end of his representative career, at least with Queensland. So we'll see how it goes. Billy's not afraid to make those big changes or to bring someone in that no one really expected. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, if it doesn't work, I don't think you can really put it on that one call because you saw in game one, the forward pack got dominated by New South Wales. The outside backs, they just didn't have a lot of possession, to be fair. They didn't really get much going. Obviously, that stems from the halves, but with Munster was there. Munster's still there. If Queensland don't win this next game, don't put it all on that one change. Obviously, you have to wait and see how the game plays out in what areas of the game Queensland win or don't win. But I don't believe that one call will make or break this game, particularly in a loss. But I still think Dearden plays well. He's always played well for Queensland. He plays well at clubland. Dearden will play well. It's a big call. We'll see how it all plays out. Broncos. You heard in a previous episode, I gave the Warriors so much credit. I gave them flowers. I gave them their chocolates. I gave them everything. I threw the world at them when they brought out their the Deer Warrior black and white jersey designed by Lewis Brown. I gave them everything for that. I love it. I loved it. It was amazing. Like I said, that color scheme is my favorite for the Warriors. So to see the Broncos kit from last week, black everything except for the number on the back, I have to give them the same credit, the same. I don't know what the word is. I can't get the word out that my brain is trying to make. But if I gave the Warriors so much credit for it, I have to give the Broncos their credit too. Not a massive fan of the Broncos, you know what it is. But this jersey is up there with some of the best jerseys we've ever seen in the NRL. That's how bloody good it is. And the consensus is from the public the exact same thing. Everyone that I've seen post about it or talk about it loves this jersey. And everyone also makes the same remark. Was that the All Blacks out there on the weekend versus the Titans? Oh, no. It was the Broncos. It was the Broncos. It kind of did look like an All Blacks jersey. Very, very similar, especially from a distance. But that's fine. That's fine. But it was a great kit for a great cause, Black Dog Institute for Mental Health. I love anyone and any organisation that brings light to mental health. And Black Dog Institute is one of the leaders in Australia. So to see them do that for a great cause, and they also played a great game. They pretty much dominated Gold Coast during that game at home. Puts them back on track for finals football. Reece Walsh comes back. He has a great game. Katoni Staggs returns to form. He has a great game. Maybe it was the jersey. Got them all fired up. Because players, they love gear. Especially the younger players coming in. They love gear. They love apparel. They love a jersey swap. They love an alternate jersey. The fans love it. It's amazing. And I saw that they auctioned off those jerseys as well. I'm not sure about all of them, but at least some of them. So that's more money to mental health. That's more appreciation from the fans, from myself, from everyone in Australia, everyone internationally for mental health. It's amazing. It's great. I love to see it. So I gave the Warriors, I gave them props. I have to give the Warriors, the Broncos, props for doing that as well. I kind of wish that the NRL would kind of have a proper system of these rounds and these jerseys and what teams are going to do for what round. Are they going to change it a little bit? Are they going to change it a lot? Obviously, it's up to the clubs. And I don't think the NRL really has much of a stance on what you should do, when you should do it. I think the NRL kind of just, I think clubs rather, just kind of figure it out before the season starts, and then they kind of just take it to the NRL for approval. And I think it's club by club. But I would love to see the NRL kind of just get a proper format for all these rounds, Indigenous round, multicultural round, women in league round, whether it's a mental health round, sort it out so that every club, if they decide to do something or not, they do it week by week in that specific round. Because you sometimes see clubs, they've got a completely different jersey for something, and then the opposition has the exact same jersey that they always wear, just their normal home or away jersey. And it's like, but then that opposition that's wearing their normal jersey might do something again in a couple weeks' time. It's like, fuck. Can we just have one round every year where every club does something in that specific round, in that specific week? Don't wait 2 weeks to do it again. Just have a, Indigenous round. Everyone, every club, whether they decide to do something or not, and I think every club should, for every round, they should have some sort of difference in their playing gear. Indigenous round, for example, round 5. Every club does something round 5, and then we move on. Women in league, every club does something for that round, and then we move on. Multicultural round, do something in that round and then we move on. So throw something in there, veterans round, or Remembrance Day round, whatever it is. Throw something in there for every club, and then we move on. Don't be doing this. This club's doing something for Indigenous this week. This club's then going to do something for Women in League this week. I kind of want to see a more structured format. I love what the clubs are doing. I love what they're bringing attention to in the NRL, but I'd love to see it in a more structured format, and I think the fans could also get behind that too. For example, in the past, I think it was only done one time, but we had like a superhero round. The Roosters were Captain America. I think the Raiders were the Hulk, and so on and so on and so on. There was a Thor. I think the Dragons were Thor. Something like that. Everyone had a really cool jersey that the fans all could, the build up to the round, they could buy that jersey because we knew all these certain clubs were playing this same exact round. They were wearing these alternate jerseys. It was a full buy-in. The clubs didn't change their jersey a little bit. It was like a full transformation in the jersey. So fans could buy the jersey for the round. They could buy it again then after that. But you knew it was for this round. These clubs were doing it. You knew what the jersey looked like. And I think it was really cool. But we just sort of lost the structure, the plan in place for these certain rounds. So as much as you love to see it, my only knock is let's get a bit more structure. Let's get a bit more clubs involved. Obviously, it costs money, but, the clubs have money. Even if you don't fully transform your kit like the Broncos did, something, clubs have money. Clubs have money. Dig into that profit just a little bit more, all right? Dig into those pockets just a little bit more. All right, let's talk about the Panthers-Tigers game. This is kind of like a newfound rivalry. Obviously, you have it's still a similar battle of the West. It's not quite Panthers Parramatta, but it's still a similar battle of the West. Tigers still half based out of Campbelltown. But now they've got this newfound rivalry where there's a lot of ex-Panthers players playing for the Tigers. Your Terrell May, Jerome Luai, Saruna Taruva, Api Gorosau. If there's someone else I'm missing, I apologise. But you've kind of got this, Penrith Panthers versus Penrith Tigers kind of format now for this newfound rivalry, Panthers versus Tigers. And I think you saw the first kind of iteration of it this past weekend, and it was a really good game. Obviously, Panthers and Tigers, particularly this year, you never know what you're going to get, whether you're going to get a good performance or a shit performance. Tigers of the past, it's all been shit performances. It's hard to draw eyeballs to Tigers games in the last 5 years or so. And then Panthers this year have been on that downhill ride, and they're starting to get some wins. And they're slowly climbing back up that ladder. But this game was really good, close in competition level this year. You're not seeing the years past of dominant Panthers versus bottom of the ladder Tigers. You're getting a more even-keeled game this year. And obviously you've got all the former Panthers, so they kind of know the role and the way that the Panthers want to play a game. So that brings the advantage up for the Tigers as well. And it was a really good game. It was competitive. Tigers led for a while, and then the Panthers come back and they end up winning the game. But the ending was crazy. The ending was some of the best football I've seen this season. The competitiveness, the bitterness of the players going back and forth. All the players want to get one over each other. A lot of them have played together, so they're trying to get one over each other. It was really good to watch this game because, like I said, in the past, to get me to watch a Tigers game is tough if they're not versing the likes of Roosters, Storm, someone that actually is exciting to watch. But whenever they play again in the future, I'm going to be watching this game because I'm expecting a similar style game, close, rivalry. So I think, you've got your Roosters, your Rabbitohs, your Broncos, Dolphins, your Broncos, Titans, kind of your Sharks, Dragons, Derby type games, your Battle of the West. I think this is a new rivalry game to circle on the calendar. Panthers versus Tigers. Like I said, the Penrith Panthers versus the Penrith Tigers. Next game, NRL should really market the shit out of this. Market the shit out of the next time the Panthers versus the Tigers. Because you saw an amazing game, an amazing finish to the game. Market the shit out of the next time they play. Hopefully it's before the end of the season. Market the shit out of it. It's easy to do. You've got 4 or 5 ex-Panthers players on the Tigers side. Just show them versus Cleary, Yo, Edwards, Toto. You've got unlimited footage, unlimited photos. Market the shit out of this. It's easy. All you have to do is put more time into edits and photos and graphics and promos. Market it. And it will pay rewards because this is a good game. It's not Dragons versus Knights. I can't stand watching the Dragons this year, to be honest. But that's a separate occasion. Panthers, Tigers, next time they play, watch it. Hopefully the NRL markets it because it's worth the marketing. Last topic before we wrap it up. Lachlan Galvin's an official Bulldog. He's officially played a game for the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs get the win over Parramatta, who reportedly was also in the race to get Galvin. Bulldogs get the win. Galvin scores a try. Everything looks like it's kind of worked out for the best. For the Bulldogs, for Galvin, the Tigers, they can wipe their hands with all this drama now. They can move on. The Bulldogs seem to have found the playmaker that they were searching for. Parramatta showed that they kind of, might need him once Brown's gone. Obviously, you also had Reid Marnie versus his former club. But Bulldogs showed up. Galvin showed up. You saw it. As soon as he came onto the field and he was being that first receiver for Burton, and it looked good. It looked natural. It looked structured. It kind of looked right. I like Toby Sexton. I think he's a solid B halfback. He's not an A. He's not a Cleary. He's not a DCE. He's not a Sam Walker at his best. He's a solid B. He's in that Jamal Fogarty type class. You can get the job done, but is he going to win you a premiership? Obviously, the Bulldogs feel like maybe he's not the man to get them over the line, even with the likes of Burton on the outside. But you saw it. Galvin's going to play 7. Burton's going to play 6. Galvin's a really good threat at running the football. He's young. He likes to step. He likes to see if there's a gap, and he likes to score tries. He's young. That's what he likes to do. But he's a really good 7 too. He knows how to square up the defense, draw players in, and then hit out the back to Burton, whoever is going to be second receiver. And Burton loves that too. Burton, he is made for being out closer to the sideline. He spent a lot of time in the centres, so he's familiar in that area of the field, but 6 is his best. 6 is his best. Galvin's going to get the ball at first receiver. He's going to square everything up. He's going to make the right decision, and then when Burton gets the ball out the back, he's already got momentum. He can use his centre, his fullback, his winger, and then they're going to score a lot of this attack is going to look crisp. Once Galvin gets a few games in the system, a few training sessions in with the boys, Sexton, he's going to be out. I believe he's going to be out, and it's unfortunate for Sexton, but the little glimmers that you saw on the weekend with Galvin to Burton to Tracy or Crichton or whoever, it's going to work. It's going to work. As long as Galvin stays focused, he continues to improve, continues to seek maturity, at that position as a player and also as a man, this could really work. This could really work. I think, there was a lot of fuckery, a lot of drama with this whole saga for however long it's been going on now. But I think the Bulldogs are finally happy that they've got him. And I think the Bulldogs are going to say, this is going to work. This is going to work. And I believe that too. We'll see how it plays out for the remainder of the season. If they make finals football, we'll see how he goes under that, on the big stage, under a lot more pressure, under the big lights. That'll be interesting. But I think this was the right move for the Bulldogs, and I think it's going to work. And that's going to wrap up the episode. We're back. We'll do another episode recapping the last round. Only the 5 games leading up to Origin Game 2. Got a lot of teams on bye. So only the 5 games. We'll wrap that up. We'll give you a bit of a prediction for Game 2 over in Perth of Origin. And we'll see whatever else comes up in the news between now and then. So until then, enjoy the round of football. Enjoy the weekend. And I'll see you next week.